Okay, I think I am live. Let me just double check something to make sure. I am a Zoom person, not a StreamYard. So I have to make sure that everything is okay. And good evening, everyone. Buenos noches, and welcome to another Friday Night Insomniacs. I'm Amina Hanan, and I had a sister ask me today. She said, why do you go live so early? And I said because then that way, because I'll be up late at night anyway, up eating snacks and um, just doing whatever. And I was like, hey Diane, hey, you here for my randomness tonight? Let's send me some good energy, sis. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's hope that my internet doesn't act up tonight. So she said, why do you go live so late? And I said, well, I'm up late anyway. I'll be up eating snacks and writing, doing stuff around the house. It's early for you, Diane, but for us, it's 10:01. So maybe I get some more West Coast people. And I was like, so I'll be up anyway. And it's Ramadan Mubarak to all my Muslim brothers and sisters. So I'll be up hydrating and doing stuff and just whatever. So that's why I'll be there. So again, let me introduce myself. I'm Amina Hanan. And on this channel, I talk about living abroad and more. I hold space for Black women as they align their lives with their passions. And I do this in a few ways. One is with my Reiki Oracle readings available via my website at aminahanan.com. And I am also the community manager and accountability coach at one of the accountability coaches and one of the community managers at ExodusASCP.com. And Exodus ASAP is a membership community that helps Black women expedite their move abroad. Oh my gosh. And I welcome everyone. If you live abroad, please drop the country in the chat. Or if you're thinking about moving abroad, let me know which country you're considering. And for the sisters who watch in the future, I ask that you do the same. Also, if you have any questions, please drop them in the chat. So thank you, Diane. 100 days. Congratulations. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You were here with me in the beginning of my journey, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit before I get into my pros and my cons. So in November of last year, 2025, I moved to San Miguel de Allende, Mexico with my husband, our 2 cats, and 16 suitcases. I sold and gave away most of my possessions for basically a fresh start. The winters in Chicago were kicking my butt, if you ask why I did that. And my body was just kind of over it. My husband had retired and the world was shifting. And so all the signs pointed that it was time for a change. My first thought was Panama because they have the Pensionado visa. And I thought that would be easy. But then I got residency in Mexico on an Exodus ASAP caravan. Again, shout out to Exodus ASAP. This month in the community, we're focusing on decluttering and designing your own DIY residency caravans. So if you're interested, check us out at exodusasap.com. And so after I got my residency in Mexico, a sister from Exodus ASAP, who is my neighbor now, shout out to Angela, health coach for the culture. If you're watching in the future, she called me and she started talking about the beautiful home she had just rented in San Miguel, about her backyard and her avocado trees. And I was like, I want some of that. Because I was about to move to basically Little Miami, AKA Panama City. And being the flighty person that I am, sometimes I can be, I asked her when she was going back because I wanted to meet her there so I could find me a house. I wanted some avocado trees. I wanted a backyard. I wanted all the great things that she was talking about. So I booked the flight and a stay at Casa Elm. Again, shout out to Michelle Wedderburn, who is the owner and proprietor of Casa Elm. a boutique guest house in Hacienda Elm, a co-living community for Black women over 50. And so I have to give a shout out to my community because you'll see through this entire thread that that is how I got to Mexico, is by a community. If it wasn't for a community and women in the Exodus community, I wouldn't be here right now. So another ASAP sister is in the comments. We both flew down to San Miguel. We met up at the airport. We rented a car and we drove from Querétaro to San Miguel. And it was a nice drive. It was my first time like actually driving in Mexico. I've been in Mexico, but I'd never driven, or had I? I don't remember. If it was a long time ago. But in my recent memory, it's the first time. So it was night and we drove from Querétaro to San Miguel. It was, I want to say it's maybe like 7 o'clock or something in the night. So we stayed at Casa Elm. We woke up the next day bright and early. I found a house, the house I'm living in now. And like I said, that's one of the biggest things in my life has been, yes, it was a great drive. And I was learning to drive like a Mexican because like when they drive on the road down here, if you want to go fast, you go to the left. If you're slowing or fast or pass, you go to the left. If you're driving kind of slow, you go to the right. So I stayed mostly in the right lane. And then sometimes I would pass because we get behind a truck or something and just maybe just too slow. But it was a fun drive in from Querétaro to San Miguel. So community has been a constant in my life, and Exodus and Exodus ASAP is just another extension of that. Real community is everything. They've got my feet moving and got me in a new country in 5 months. When I was working with like a maybe 2 to 3 year plan of leaving the country, I was just dragging my feet. So it's been 100 days. I stayed in the middle lane. Okay, maybe I was in the middle lane. I don't know. So it's been my first 100 days of living in Mexico, and I've had some time to see what life is really like here beyond the anxiety and the excitement of the move. So some things have been better than I imagined, and a few things have been more challenging than I expected. So let's talk about it. Remember, this is a community project. If you have any pros and cons about your move abroad, drop them in the chat. And again, if you have any questions for me, you can drop those too. Let me see. Hey, Carmen, where are you in the world, Carmen? Are you home or are you out globetrotting? Thank you for being here. If you're here, say hi. Just go ahead and say hi in the comments and let me know you're here. So my first pro about living in Mexico, my first 100 days is the weather. From Chicago to 80 degrees in February is always going to be a pro. So any sister who comes from a colder climate, you know that sometimes our vitamin D levels can be really low. And it just feels great to be outside getting that direct sunlight. When I'm used to sitting at home under a sad lamp this time of year, cold, achy, and mad because it gets dark at 3 o'clock. So no more of that. So that is awesome, just being able to be out, you know. But the good news for you guys in the States is daylight savings time is coming in a few days. So you'll have some longer days. Carmen, she says, I'm visiting my son in Pittsburgh, but I'll be in Mexico in 2 weeks. Are you coming to San Miguel, Carmen, or are you going to be in Playa? You coming to see us, or you going to be in Playa? So another pro is the deep rest and decompression that I was able to get. When we got here, I promised myself that I would take things really slow and rest. I was still working, doing my virtual work, but I didn't take on any other new clients. I didn't want to take on any more new projects. I just wanted to rest. And this quiet little provider that we live in, it gave me all the space I needed to rest. But I have to do it in the right room of the house. I noticed pretty quickly that life just slowed down for me, just not in a lazy way, but just in a very intentional type of way. One of the things here is that people, they just sit longer, they walk slower, and they're out actually like just enjoying their day. And nobody's like rushing to get anywhere, just rushing, which, you know, if you live in a big city or visit a big city, it can kind of be that way. Because we can be in central in the middle of the day and the people are just out enjoying themselves. At night, families are out with their children, you know, their small babies, they're walking, they're running around. And it's just really nice. So that leads to a con, the construction. Mexico is growing. When I read the news and I watch other YouTubers, The country is growing. Everybody's talking about the construction that's going on. They're having noise in their background, just different things. So that is a good thing that, the country is growing. So from sun up to sundown, in the back of our house, there's noise, there's dust on the rooftop because they're building houses back there. But the nights are very quiet. During the day, I can take a nap if I do it in the front of the house, or if I put my noise canceling headphones on, I can do it in one of the rooms in the back of the house. But yeah, so with the growth, there comes a pro. Before I moved here, I had a session with Michelle Wedderburn, the owner of Casa El, and we talked about opening up businesses in Mexico. So I was like, okay, is that a possibility? Is that something I want to do? Like I said, not during my resting phase, but with the growth, there becomes, you can see just so many different opportunities. I'm in rest mode, but I'm taking notes. And I think about ways I can share my culture here and build a business, not an exploitative way, because being a Black American who's lived in Black neighborhoods all my life, I know what that looks like. And because I'm not a devil, I'm not into that. But I can see opportunities, to just introduce things from my culture here to the people of San Miguel, to work with the locals. And that's just a great opportunity. And I think that it's something that I'm going to explore later. This Sunday, sister that I met here, Melissa, her and her husband, and with another sister here in SMA, their SMA in San Miguel Day and Day. They're hosting a brunch and babes event, so I'm going to be there. I'm going to be doing some readings, and just meeting some people because I know I have nowhere met any other people in the community, so that's going to be a chance for me to be out and be with the people. I'm going to enjoy that. The pro is the community, the Black SMA community, the Mexican community, the locals here that have embraced me, and also the Mexicans who are moving back home from the US. Um, I love having people that I can talk to and learn about the country from. And that's just been a serious, serious pro for me. And I'm enjoying embracing that even more. It's just some little things like I was like, oh man, my house doesn't have, and it's just the goofy in me. I was like, my house doesn't have any heat. Sometimes I'm kind of cold. I have space heaters. And sister was like, do you have those little caps in each room? And I was like, yeah. She's like, girl, that's the gas line. You can just buy a little thing. And I was like, oh damn. I'm like, why didn't nobody tell me about that? But okay, but now I know. So that's one thing that I'm going to do. Not right now because it's about to get warm. We are getting in the high 80s, and we had a little rain the other day. So that's a project that I'm going to keep down for later. So I'm going to talk about a con. I was introduced to the neighborhood group chat. And the neighborhood group chat, because I live outside of Centro, maybe about a 15-minute drive, depending on the traffic. And the neighborhood group chat is basically just like a bunch of white people who are the neighborhood watch. Now, I live in a Pravada, so on the side, it's a big private gated community. So on the side that I live on, there are a lot of Mexican families. We have a few white families, but for the most part, it's a lot of Mexican families on this side. So I don't see a lot of white people over here. But when I go to the other side, I see them. And then if I'm out in the community, they're out there. And they have a neighborhood chat. And it's good for stuff like emergencies and non-emergencies. They'll alert you to like fires and burnings and things like that, which I'll get to later. So you can know what's going on. But I was kind of mad last week because I guess there was a man, and the thing about it is like outside in the community, people will be out there, they're workers, they're eating their lunch. So they'll sit on the curb and eat their lunch. There was a guy taking a nap at one of the houses across the street the other day. So you'll see people out there just resting, enjoying. So they took pictures of this man. They called the police on this man. They had the police search this man. I was just like, and then they posted pictures of the police actually like patting this man down. And they were all like, congratulating each other, like good work and good work. And I was just like, this is so irritating. I was like, I don't have a problem with like um neighborhood watches. I think it's a good thing, but why are you posting pictures of people who the police are patting down? It's unnecessary. If the man had actually done something, a crime or something, I can see you, posting his picture, alerting people or whatever if he wasn't caught. But it just get to be a lot. and they'll be posting stuff like, "Hey, there's loud techno music coming from this house," and I'm just like, "It's the middle of the day. Put on your headphones, go take a walk, go drink some water, eat a banana. I don't know, but keep it down." So that's that's one of the cons is the group chat and some of the, I guess you could call it like Karenness and chatness that you can run into here because there's still people here from other places. So, and you know who those people are, they be everywhere. So a pro is my house. I love my house. Um, yeah, the neighborhood chat is like it's like the US. It is, it can be. Yep, the homes are concrete and they can be extremely cold sometimes. But that's a pro in the summertime because I'm thinking we're gonna have a good summer here and not have to have any type of AC. Yeah, they are relentless. So the pro is my house. I love my house. Like I said, we live in a gated community. It is a nice house. When I first got here and the way I was missing home, I was just like, it's too much house. I don't think I can, I just had like every reason why I was thinking about packing my stuff and going back home. But slowly I am starting. Thank you, Diane. She says, have a beautiful home. That's a pro. Yes, it is. So slowly I am starting to do things in the house, decorating, taking my time, being very intentional. Getting the garden, trying to get the garden together. The owner who owns the house that we rent, I can tell that she did not live here. I think she was just renting it out for like Airbnb because all the touches that women like put into our houses, none of that is here. She didn't do the garden. She like has like some grass rugs out there downstairs because we have like a rooftop and a garden downstairs. Nothing. So that gives me a chance to do some things. Of course, things are going to be portable, so I can take them with me. So I'm going to get some potted trees, some potted plants. So my house has definitely been a pro, and I'm enjoying the community that we live in. Sometimes I want to go out and live in other places where I can, become more integrated, speak more Spanish. Because most of the people, my neighbors, they're Mexican, but they speak English and they're gonna speak English to me. I've been trying my Spanish and they speak in English. So I talked about the fires and the burnings in the beginning. That's a con. I don't know what it is that makes people set their garbage on fire or think they can clear brush during a dry season by setting it on fire, but baby, it's a problem. And I'm gonna need more air purifiers. Um, and I just need them I'm just trying to figure out why they do that. Yeah, because it's, like I said, we're coming up on the rainy season, but it's the dry season. It's March. We got a couple more months before the wet season. So bought a hose, gonna buy some more hoses so I can, something happens, we can, keep things, at bay. But and then even if it's not close to you, just the smell of the burning, that sends me sometimes. And I just be like, what the hell are they burning today? And that's what the group chat is good for too, because they'll put in the group chat, oh, there's a fire here, or don't go there because they're doing this. So sometimes the nosy white people can be helpful. So that's one of the cons. And a pro is the markets. I love the fresh fruit here. Um, there are a couple of markets that I really enjoy going to, and I can get anything there. I can get my fresh fruits and vegetables, my beans. I can get my dried herbs. I can get fresh herbs, and I love it because sometimes, like the when you live in a big city, you get excuse me, you get kind of disconnected from how your food is prepared. And when you have a chance to get fresh fruits and vegetables that still have the dirt and the compost on it, that I love it. I love it. And the variety, excuse me. And then I'm hearing like from different people, and I'm watching like the different farmers in the US talk about the produce shortages. Our produce is not always the best in the US. Even if we are getting organic, sometimes it can just be a price tag because I'll tell you when you know your fruit is fresh, when you buy something and then a day or two, it's kaput. That's it. It's rotted. You can't use it. You got to compost it. It's good, not good anymore. So that's how you know that your food is fresh. And that goes from everything that I get down here from I got the chicken, from the From the chicken, the fruits, the vegetables, the bread, the fresh baked bread, you get everything. It's kaput. It doesn't take long. And I tried refrigerating bread, that dries it out. So I've just learned just to just buy what we need and just consume what we need. And also here in the community, there is a Saturday market that the sister and I, we neighbors, we walk to together, and I love that because there's a farm that comes in. If I wanted to, I could order things in advance, but I like to see how my produce looks. So even if I didn't go into town to go somewhere, I can walk on Saturdays and get fresh produce, tamales, um, brownies. That's really makes really good brownies there. So that's a chance to do that. So I love that. I love the markets. There's a local tienda actually in my community where I can go get produce, get things that we need. They sell the same fresh bread from the same bakery that I like to get the bread from. So that's definitely a pro. The cons, well, a con is the restaurants. Being from Chicago, that has a very large Mexican population in Pilsen, Little Village, in South Chicago, I have gotten better Mexican food at home than I've gotten here. There are some local places that have been very good, but there is a large swath of just restaurants serving just nasty food. And they have, I don't know why they do this, but they put Parmesan cheese and just random pork on food for no reason. And if you tell them you don't want it, they still put it on there. So I'm like, okay. And I don't understand what the obsession is with Parmesan cheese. I mean, I like Parmesan cheese, but why is it on everything? And why you just put just random meat on stuff that just don't even require meat? I don't understand that. But I have found a few local spots, but there are several not so good spots, and that has been very disappointing. Or sometimes, like they're making food, and you be like, "This would have really been good if you did this." So I saw a meme a long time ago. Yep, they're preparing food for the clear folks. Exactly. I saw a meme a long time ago and it said, people who leave Chicago, don't get mad when you leave out the city and you see that that food is not fooding like it is here because Chicago's a foodie city. And sometimes I regret that. I regret, and I miss the food. I miss the food. I know it'd be Franken food, but I still miss it. I still miss it. So that's a con, is the Parmesan cheese and the random pork and just whatever they put on stuff that with no seasoning and just messing it up. I'm like, I could go on about that, but I'm gonna move on because I like to eat. So a big pro is just that my creativity has been expanded a lot. A new environment, which I'm sure a lot of you know if you're creative or if you're just a person that just likes to travel, a new environment changes how you think. You get the new sounds, the new colors, the new rhythms, you get the new accents. I'm trying to work on my accent because my accent is horrible. So I'm trying to work on my accent. So it's just giving me just like so many ideas. Like I said, with the business ideas, my writing has gotten better. I'm up all night writing, just getting things down on paper. So that when I come out of my cocoon period, which is very soon, I will just be able to just start, just be able to just see what I want to do next. I write fiction, so I'm thinking about maybe starting a fiction writing group here. If I can find some sisters here who are fiction writers and they are down to meeting once or twice a month, that's something that I may start to explore. So let me see what you guys are saying in the chat. Oh, Yvonne, hey Yvonne. Yvonne said she made it. Thank you for coming through, Yvonne. And Yvonne says she still miss Chicago food after 36 years. Girl, yeah, my sister, she about to send me a care package because I can't. Some things I just that can make it that's not that won't, that's not perishable. I need to have them in my life. So another con is that, I mean, another pro, I'm sorry, is that my work has become more location dependent. Like I said, I'm not retired. I'm still in Kakumo, but I still work. So moving out of the country is kind of pushed me to just design work that fits the life that I want. And I'm loving the way that that's taking shape, and I'm loving the opportunities that I'm getting. So that is something I'm enjoying, because I don't know if I'll ever retire. Stephanie Perry told me to say that I'm retired. She's like, just tell people you're retired and just think about your old lady retirement activities you're going to do. I'm still going to do my pickleball because I've never played. I played pickleball, but I've never really been into it. But there's a Deportiva by my house, so I'm still going to do pickleball. And I want to get back into swimming, and I want to get back into horse riding. It's been a long time since I've ridden a horse, so there are ranches here, so I want to get back into horseback riding. So those are going to be my retired activities, but I'm still not retired. So I'm going to talk about another con. It's the cobblestone. So thank God I have not fallen, but the cobblestones here will make you walk with intention. When I'm walking in the neighborhood, I bought some walking sticks with me, poles or whatever they call them. I bought them with me. So I always have them with me just in case, so I can keep myself kind of steady and still keep my rhythm. Because there's nothing worse than when you're walking and you thinking you're getting it and then you fall and embarrass or hurt yourself, either one. So the cobblestones, it just really makes me walk with intention. They are not everywhere, but it's for the most part where I live, the neighborhood I live in. And when I go to Central, if you've been to San Miguel, the streets are really narrow. Sometimes I don't take them to Central for the most part because it's a little bit smoother, and also the streets are so narrow and so small. I don't want to impede other people. But if I ever feel like I need to take them with me so I won't fall, I'm gonna take them with me. So with the cobblestones, everything here is so intentional, just even down just to the way that you walk. Yeah. Yvonne said, yes, the cobblestones. The first time I went to SMA, I took all my cute shoes. Yeah, you can't have no cute shoes here. You can't. I'll be in my Crocs, my sneakers and my Uggs. That's what I wear. I just committed myself to just wearing, even like if I have on a Croc sandal, it needs something with some traction, because the cobbles, especially if it's wet, the cobblestone gonna take you out. And I'm doing my best to stay out of anybody's emergency room. So, but with the cobblestones, that's the con, comes a pro. I have my favorite drivers here. I have one driver in particular, and I share him with another sister. And it was so funny. One day I texted him and I was asking him if he was available to come and pick me up and take me somewhere. And she texted me back and she said, I'm with Francisco right now. she said, we'll be done at this time. I said, okay, just tell him to come and get me when he's done with you. So that's one thing that I like, just the freedom of just not driving. I, we in my community that I live in, is another pro for my house that I love about my provider that we live in. We have a shuttle bus that will take you to Central. It'll take you to the mall. It will take you to the library, and it runs pretty late in the day. So that's another plus here, because the city bus, because of where I live, they don't let the city bus come back here. So, and it's a nice hike. I'm working my way up to that hike, but to get to the city bus, it's a little far. So Pro is my favorite drivers, and the shuttle bus chauffeur. I called him the bus driver when I first met him. He said, I'm the chauffeur. So that's what I call him. I say, okay, the chauffeur. So, and I can just WhatsApp him and say, hey, what time are you leaving? He'll come by the house. He'll pick me up, let me know when he is going to be back to where I am. So it's a good way to get around, and it's included. So it's a good way to travel. So, um, another pro is just, like I said, living more intentionally. When I think about the time it just takes to prepare the food that we eat, the conservation of water, I never thought of growing up on Lake Michigan. I never thought about just like water conservation, because you always like, hey, it's fresh water is here. We have some of the best. I don't know New Yorkers coming in my chat. Chicago has some of the best water in the United States. So that's, I love that. Yes, the driver, that my favorite driver, Carmen, speaks English, and so does the chauffeur of the shuttle bus. They both speak English. It's not like English like I speak it, but it's good enough for me to talk. And, I practice my Spanish. So it's good enough to get where I need to go. Yeah, the transportation here, yep, Diane, is very, very, very expensive. Yeah, really, you said really water out of the tap. Yeah, Chicago has some good water. I mean, yeah. The Water Reclamation District, it's a black woman as the president. Shout out to Carrie. She does a really good job of making sure that our water is clean, and she is a chemist. And so I don't drink the water out the tap, but bathing with the water, using it to wash your dishes, living here because we haven't gotten the house filter yet. We're gonna get it soon. I had to get shower filters for my shower heads here. So living here, I appreciate that Chicago water because baby, before I got them shower head filters, this water was doing a number on my skin, a number on my skin. So yeah, so Chicago has some pretty good water. So just living intentionally, just conserving the water, um, and just waste and how we dispose of waste. That's like, that's just like I said, from just preparing the food to how much food you buy to consume, just everything is about conservation because if, you know, used to taking like my once a week or once every other week trip to the market at home, buying up all this stuff and it just keeping that's just not how things work here. Plus another con is sometimes there are power outages. In the winter when we were here, when I say winter, I mean the winter months, there was a circus here. And we would have power outages, and people would be in the chat and they'd be like, it's that damn circus. They taking up all the so imagine going somewhere and buying up all this food in your fridge and putting it in your refrigerator, and then you having a power outage and you don't know when the power's coming back on, so it goes bad. So I'm gonna add that as a con too. The power outages can be a con. My sister asked me, what's your plan like if you have a power outage? I said, we have rechargeable flashlights, we have lanterns, we have candles. I said, and my plan is to eat all the refrigerated snacks and just take a nap. Like, I'm on my own schedule. We on our own time. I'm not pressed. It's not like if the power goes out, I have to get to work or anything like that. So that's definitely a pro. So I appreciate that. Um, yep, Chicago water is not hard and it's better for your skin. Yep, but it's not hard because of the way they treat it. The water reclamation plant does associate. They do a really good job with it. And then yeah, Carmen, we should be more cognizant of how much we consume. Exactly, exactly. And also when I have waste, they have the compost, it's like a compost society of San Miguel. Pay like $20 a month. They give me a bucket. They give me a little bucket for my counter, and they give me a big bucket to dump everything in. So anytime I'm preparing any food, any leftovers, if I eat chicken and there's bones, fish and there's bones, anything, any type of food product, I put it in the compost bucket. It has a really good lid, and I set it outside my door once a week. They come pick it up. They give me a new bucket. Every 4 weeks, I get a thing of fresh compost. So I love that. I love the fact that that is so easy. Also, recycling here is really easy. Back home, recycling was kind of hard. You invest in all these garbage cans and all these bags, and then you just see the city people just coming through everything and compress it into one thing. You see them, so I'm like, how is that getting recycled? Then if I was looking for a place to go recycle, they act like only people on the north side want to recycle. So I love that, that kind of reduces my carbon footprint and makes me be more intentional about what I buy. So I love that. A con is things can take a little longer here, or they can happen really fast. So it's just like they say, six in one hand, half a dozen on the other. One thing that I love here, and it was so weird to me when I first got here because I would be like messaging the WhatsApp because I don't speak Spanish. I'd be WhatsApping utility companies and I'd be getting like we'll be right with you in a minute messages. And finally, the lady that her cleaning crew that comes and clean our house, she was like, "That's not how it works here." She was like, "You have to message your utility person." And I was like, "What?" And she's like, "You have to message them." So she gave me the gas company, she gave me a cable person, she gave me an electric person. So whenever I have a problem, I message them. Also, my water person. If I want water delivered, I just WhatsApp them and I say, "Hey, can you bring me some water?" And they bring water. They cash. They take card. Um, Last week, because I'm obsessed with my gas tank because you get a gas tank and it only holds so much gas. It's not like at home where you just use as much gas as you want and you just pay. You actually have a tank. And I like that because it makes it cheaper. It's less expensive. I'm not gonna say cheaper, I'm gonna say it's less expensive because it fluctuates. And I texted him last week because I'm like, I cannot let my gas tank go like below like 55 because I don't want to get up in the morning and not have gas and can't cook and can't take a hot shower. I just don't want to. I'm not trying to live that life. So I texted him and I said, "Hey, I need gas." This was last week. I texted him and he pulled up like 2 minutes later and was like, "Hey, I'm here." I think he was already in the community. So it's like really, really simple. Um, so I love that. But then sometimes things can take a little longer. I needed to, if you saw my first live, I'm leaving it up because I want to be able to measure where I came from. My internet connection was awful. It took them a minute to come and put a new router in. So waiting for stuff like that, I still don't have all my furniture. They still making my furniture, but I have a lot of it. So I'm just learning just to be more patient because I have what I need. And I think that's a big pro for me. Just knowing that I have what I need and everything's gonna come in divine time. So it's okay. It's okay. One thing that really irked me here, and I don't know if it's just the Chicago in me, when people finish their transactions here in the store, they will just stand there and just talk. And I'm just like, would you get out the way? Like, girl, move. But I had to learn that first of all, like I said, I'm not in a hurry. I'm not going anywhere. And people they go to the same stores, they see the same people. And so, so yeah, so that's one thing that I had to get used to. And let me see. Oh, I have a question. I know more of us are fleeing to Mexico, but SMA is a small town. Does it feel like too many people are moving there to you? I'm be honest, I haven't been long here enough here to judge that because I'm sure people probably looking at me that's like, because I'm a newbie on the block, like, like you're moving here. I do worry about the infrastructure because I am in the chat with the white people. They talking about how they're trying to take a park here in the neighborhood and put condos there. I worry about stuff like that. Um, I worry about the water. I just worry about just like the overcrowding. A lot of people will probably think of it in terms of the rents going up. That's going to happen too. But I just think about just the resources that we have here. They're talking about building an airport, but from what I hear, they've been talking about building an airport for a long time. So I hope it doesn't happen. That's a con, not living near an international airport. So I can either go to Querétaro or Leon. I am considering buying a Valeris pass, which is about $500 a year, and then you just pay the taxes and you can fly. And I'll be able to fly home just by flying standby and just paying the taxes. So I'm thinking about doing that. But yeah, that's a con being in an international airport. But I will give up not living near an international airport to avoid the overcrowding because San Miguel is a place where you kind of have to come with intention because when you get there, when you come here, when you land in Querétaro, you land in Leon, you got to drive to get here. You got to either hire a driver or you have to um, rent a car. So it's not some place you can just pop in and pop out of. You have to come in with intention, and I love that. I love that. Yeah, if the airport come, well, that will change everything. It'll change a lot. I think it'll change a lot. But I have my fingers crossed, and that's why I say sometimes the clear people are good for something. I think they're gonna fight the airport. So we're gonna see what happens. And if it does, it'll probably take a while. So hopefully it's a ways off. So like I said, a con is sometimes I miss home. If you know me, I'm a Chicago girl through and through. Chicago has been a character in my life for as long as I've been in the world, even though I've lived other places, it's always Chicago for me. Like I said, I love going home. I think I posted on Facebook. I said, when I am on that airplane and they start descending and I see that skyline and I see that lake, I don't care what time of year it is, baby, I tear up because I be like, I'm home. And like I said, don't let me get off that plane and they got Buddy Guy singing Sweet Home Chicago and I can smell that popcorn, that Garrett's and that pizza, baby, I'm home. So I just miss home sometimes. And I miss the familiarity of it. I miss the people. I miss the food, just the comfort. If you are from a Black person from Chicago, born and raised in Chicago, got roots in Chicago, you know that Chicago is like it's a big city, but it's a small town. We used to call it up south. They still do. Because everybody in our community, they either from Mississippi, some Arkansas, Tennessee, Alabama, and it's just like it's just a small town. Hey Diane, oh we got some Louisiana too. So it's a big city, but it's a small town, and I love it. But Chicago is changing too because the winters are not as harsh, and people are realizing how dope Chicago is, and they moving there, and they driving up prices, and so it's just the world is changing. The world is everywhere is changing. So Yvonne says Chicago ain't going nowhere though. Get your international life on, lady. I am. I'm gonna get my international life on, but I always know that in the back of my mind, I'm probably gonna end up at some point back in Chicago. We're gonna see. I just think that that's just where the story is for me. So we're gonna see what happens. So a con that I don't like, and I think we kind of went through this a few weeks ago, is the propaganda. Now, being from Chicago, I got a couple of family members, and I was on the phone with some people, and they were just like, "Oh, you're gonna be okay," because we know how propaganda works. But just that whole thing that we went through a couple of weeks, and with the misinformation and the people just not knowing where San Miguel is on the map in relation to other parts. Don't get me wrong, we did get some information about just going home and just kind of staying at home for a while, but it's just not what people think it is. I'm not saying crime doesn't happen here. I'm not saying things don't happen here. Things happen everywhere, but it's just not like how people think. And I tell people all the time, especially my Black brothers and sisters from Chicago, a Mexican in Mexico is different from Mexicans in Chicago. America does things to people. It the propaganda against my people that it tells people about, and then it's just like a race to just it's a race to not be at the bottom in America. So that's the thing that's the thing that really influences um, people and relationships in the city, and it's just totally different here. And I know it's different because I'm an American and I'm an outsider. I'm a foreigner, so it's a little different. But I look at just the way when I people watch and I see how people interact with each other. It's different for them too. And it's just like I said, things are just more slower. It's more intentional. I love that when I go and eat, they're not bringing me that bill until I ask for it. I can sit in that restaurant all day. I don't, but I can sit in that restaurant all day and nobody's gonna bother me. All they're gonna come and say is, "Do you want more whatever? Do you want more water? You want more coffee? You want?" That's what they're gonna ask me. Nobody's just like, "We gotta flip this table. We gotta flip this table," because there are other restaurants. And if you walk in and you see a restaurant is crowded, you just go somewhere else. Go to another one. So it's like, so I love that, just the slowing down of everything. And I'm a person that used to like to go and walk fast, just be out. My nervous system is just down, down, down. And that's what people from Chicago here tell me. They like, when you go back home after visiting, after living here for a few months, they're like, it's gonna be totally different. So I'm gonna have to get my support systems in order so that I can move slow and have some buffers around me. Yeah. Yeah, the propaganda is off the chain. Carmen said she has people asking her if she was canceling her trip to go to Mexico in a month. Like, why would I do that? Yeah, yeah. It's like why would you never do that? It's like why would you cancel? It's a month away. And then when I was reading like the different reports in the local news, and a couple of YouTubers talked about this too, there were people in their cars, and the cartel was like, We need for you to get out the car because we finna set this car on fire. I was like, wow, that's nice because they could have just like flamed through it while you was in there. So, and like I said, that's the Chicago me. I'm like, that was nice of them to tell you was about to go down. So things like that, you know. Yvonne said she never had a problem with our brown cousins here or over there. So I don't know where you live, Yvonne, but in Chicago, baby, it's the Hunger Games. Sometimes, not all the time, not all the time, because I have some Mexican, people that are brothers and sisters that I'm cool with in Chicago. But baby, that fight for resources and that fight for the political power in Cook County in Chicago, that's a whole nother monster. We'll talk about it when I see you in person. Baby, that's a whole nother beast. That's a whole nother beast. So a con can be the bureaucracy. Um, my road to residency here was seamless. It was really, really easy. I got my residency, like I said, on the Exodus ASCP Caravan with a great facilitator. It took less than 24 hours. It was great. But my husband, he got a reunification visa through my visa. And when I say that machine was down for a good 2 months, it was down. And then when it came up, he didn't get his residency card until January. So I was like, oh, they're probably gonna date it for January. No, baby, they backdated it. So we still have to come back in November and start the process again. So it's okay. We're just glad to have it. Glad to have his residency here, which he will continue to get through me. I was hoping that he'd be able to get some more years. Maybe they would give him permanent residency because he's older, but nope. They was like, we still want to make sure that you guys are still married. So we be praying over the biometric machine. So hopefully, next time it'll be better. Diane says, I never had a problem here in California, but I do hear and say it's how different. Yeah, Chicago is different. It's been some problems in California too. Back in the day when I was following the news in Compton, baby, the stuff that was going on there with them bombing people up out of their home, it was problems there too. City council people talking out the side of their neck, saying things, do a little Google schmoogle. Javon said, LOL, damn, it's gang gang, huh? Yep, gang gang. Literally gang gang. Yep, literally. So a pro has been just like my identity shift, and I'm open to it. Just taking a moment just to look back on my life, the past decades of my life, and just seeing how things that I want to keep and things that I want to let go, and just having that opportunity to decompress and reevaluate. I'm so grateful for that because I know it's a privilege. That's one thing I do recognize in the Move About conversation because I know people. I mean, people, we always say, just move, just move, just move. And that's true. Some people can just move. When I'm talking to some sisters in the ASAP community, some of them are kind of held down, but they got houses that they could sell for $500,000 that they don't really want to be in no way. They have money sitting in all different types. And that's a lot of Black women who work in corporate. That is our story sometimes. But I know sisters and I know some brothers who it's not in a ministry just to leave. So I recognize not leave like right away. Like I left in 5 months. A lot of people they can't do that. So I recognize that. And I'm prayerful that we are able to stay as long as we need to stay to get what we have to get. And when I say get what we get, I don't mean materially. I mean like spiritually, whatever lessons we're going to get from living here. I pray that we can be here to learn that. So I'm grateful for that. And I just recognize that it is a privilege. It's also a privilege just being a foreigner and learning a new culture. It's also a privilege being an American and learning a new culture and living in a new place. One thing that I noticed, and I talked to a lot of different people about this, is that when you see Black Americans, you can automatically tell who we are because we are rushing over, we are speaking, we are, asking where you from. My husband and I, we were at the organic market and there was a Black man in there. When I saw him, I knew he was coming over to talk to my, because I could tell the way he was looking. We went outside. He couldn't wait to get out there and just start talking. Sister and I were at the market here and a brother walked up to us and he just started, he just started asking us questions, and she was like, "How you doing? Say hi." He was just so excited to see us. So it's just seeing things through that lens. But I can always tell us because we run up and we speak like right away. Like we speaking like right away. So if we have spent any time in America, we speaking. I was in the immigration office, and it was a brother in there, and I didn't know where he was from, but I was just talking. I was trying to talk to him. He was like not trying to talk to me. He was from Haiti, and I was just like, oh wow, okay, let me just leave him alone. But I noticed things like that. I noticed how just and when we see each other, we're just so excited. And it's some people say they're like, oh, there are a lot of black people here. Every time I go out, I see a black person I have never seen before here. So I think more of us are moving here, moving just particularly to San Miguel, and I'm loving to see that. So I see, and I get to meet people all the time that I never saw before. So I appreciate that. And like I said, I love the Black San Miguel Day and Day community. Um, just the events that they have here. If I wanted to do something every night, I could be outside every night. If you know me, you know I'm not trying to be outside every night because I love my house. I love being at home, even before I moved here. so so it's always something going on here. So I love that. Just the different programs. Um, they had a Black History Month program here a few weeks ago. That was fun. Got some really good food. Got to meet some new people, so that was fun. So there's just so many things to do here, and I enjoy that. Or so many things not to do. Diane says she lives in Northern California. She's not talking about Mexico. Oh, okay, in Northern California. And then she says, "You are right, Amina. It happened to me both in Mexico and Panama. People were not afraid to approach you. Yeah, yeah. People they just come up to you, and they just be glad to talk. And I love that because people sometimes as adults, when we're back home, we have like our set group. If you change jobs, you may get maybe new associates, new friends on the job. But for the most part, if you think about it, you had the same, well, let me speak to myself. You had the same friends most of my life. And I meet new people and I make, I just get to see just, how you can just become isolated. And that's one thing that moving here, you kind of forced, to meet people and to interact with people because you need each other because you're living in a foreign country. So you have to give someone a key to your house, which is something I have to do this week. Give someone a key to your house. Give someone your emergency contacts. Check in and see if someone needs something. Check in, if someone's sick, if someone wants to split expenses with you, whatever. You have to, and it's not because you need to do it. It just makes sense to do it because you want to preserve and stay here and be comfortable, build community, it just makes for a better time than if you just isolate yourself. Oh, do I know of any upcoming events? Vaughn, I told you I'd be in my house. But Sunday, brunch and babes. I'm gonna be there for that. Um, I don't know. Maybe I'll come back next week and I'll talk some more about upcoming events. But if you have any questions for me or if you have any ideas, and this is for people in the future who watch, just put it in the comments, things you want me to talk about, things you want me to share. Like I said, I do move abroad and more here because I don't want to come on here and talk about the cost of living. I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to talk about my housekeepers. I don't want to talk because all that stuff is just like, I'm not saying it's not great, but people always talk about that stuff. And it's just like Mexico is more than just cheap living and all that stuff. Yes, follow Casa M for upcoming events. Michelle always has something going on. She talks about it on her channel. So you can find things there. I also get a newsletter. Maybe I'll drop it later. I get a newsletter from a guy. He talks about different things that are going on here. So I'll share that too. But as far as like the Black SMA community, if you follow Black SMA on Facebook, that's a group. They're always posting events. Like we have a brunch coming up. They always post like any get-togethers that we're doing. Everything is posted there. Yeah, because they've been talked about to death. Yeah. So that's why I say I do move abroad and more because moving abroad is so much that, don't get me wrong, that's a big part of it. The decluttering, the budgeting, all of that stuff. That's a big part about it. Big part of it. But the greater part of it is about who you are on the other side. The greater part about it is the people, the community that you make, the people that you meet. The great part about it is, like I said, who you become, your ideas, just opening yourself up to that. And it's just sometimes, we have to, even with all the propaganda about what's going on in the world, we have to open up ourselves to it, because I don't know, y'all. Sometimes I be like, it ain't looking good. It ain't looking good. That's all I'm gonna say. So we need to be the foremost outliers. Those of us that love to travel, those of us that are adventurous, we got to go out, put that flag down for our people so that they have a place to come and go. Even if it doesn't have to be forever. It could just be for sabbaticals. It could just be for vacations. It could be for whatever. If you got people in your family, friends, people you're close to, just, and you can go and be that foremost and be that vanguard person, go out there and do it. Yeah, go out and take that chance if you can do it. And I encourage you, move abroad, because like I said, it was something that I wanted to do when I was younger, because we grew up reading James Baldwin, learning about the history, Josephine Baker, Nina Simone, Richard Wright, all the greats, and how they moved abroad. And never kind of think that I never thought that it would be Mexico. I always thought that it would be Europe, but it's Mexico. And I love it because the country is so big and so huge. What is it? I forget, 32 states. Y'all correct me in the chat. 32 states. I'm still studying my states here in Mexico. So there's so much to see. So many different ways you can live. You can live rural, you can live urban. If you want a city, there's Mexico City, and everything in between. Everything in between here. I'm reading a book right now. I'm gonna show y'all. Yvonne's in the chat. No, Yvonne, I'm not recommending the book because y'all be getting me on my book. And it's not fiction. It's South to Freedom. I think it was written by a clear person, but I'm reading this because it's about runaway slaves to Mexico and the road to the Civil War. So this is a book that I'm reading now. So just trying to learn more about the history here. And when I walk around in San Miguel, it's so many dome. Thank you, Carmen. 32 states. It's so many domed in the architecture. So I'm like, I want to study that. It's just so much to see, so much to do here. So, that's a thing. So Diane says, Amina, I'm so proud of you for being intentional about your move and life abroad. I know you are Chicago through and through, but you are challenging yourself. Continue to share the journey. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm trying to challenge myself. I'm gonna be 52 this year, y'all. Don't tell nobody. I'm gonna be 52. So I'm just trying to, just get it in and just have a good time. And just one of the biggest pros, I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna get up out of here because I'm talking long enough and I need to go find me something to do. One of the biggest pros of me moving here is that it is giving me space to do things that I have wanted to do for so long, and just give me time just to have the space to do that and the time. Big part of that, my husband, shout out to my husband, he's retired. So um, just being here and just having just the time to write, just having just the time to go through my ideas, having time to actually start a YouTube channel and just being intentional about it and just thinking about different things. So that's one of the biggest pros of living here. So I've learned that it's not just about geography, it's about my personal transformation. And it's a new country. Moving to a new country is just not about changing your address. It's helped me change my perspective. It's helping me change my habits. And in long term, it's gonna and change my entire life. So if you're thinking about moving abroad and it's something that you truly want to do and you want to have conversations about moving abroad and more, I ask you to hit that like button, to subscribe. I ask you to share. If you in the future, if you're here, just drop comments and let me know if there's anything you want me to cover, any questions you have about San Miguel. I'm not an expert on San Miguel. I have not been here long enough. If you want some expertise, you need to head on over to Casa Elm and talk to Michelle. But what I can talk to you about is my experience as a newbie and things from my perspective. So I am very happy to share that. And like I say, it's not all, it's pros and cons. There are some really good things, and then there are some things that get on my nerves. But is it worth it? Has it been worth it so far? 100% been worth it. So yeah, that Devon says it sounds amazing. Amazing freedom looks good on you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So that's one thing people say. They say you look different. So I'm like, okay, people who've seen me before, they say that. So like I said, if you're thinking about moving abroad and it's something that you truly want, you're in the right place. Please like, subscribe, and share. And I will see you probably sometime during the week. And maybe again next week for Friday Night Insomniacs. I'm not in a hurry. So, but I will see you guys. Thank you, Carmen. Thank you, Diane. Thank you, Yvonne. Thank you for everybody who's here but didn't say hi. I appreciate your presence. And thank you so much. Very inspiring. Thank you, Diane. It means so much to me. I'll be calling you this weekend soon. We got to chat, catch up, got some stuff to tell you. So everybody have a good night, and I hope to see you soon.